In 1886, inside the New York Tribune, Ottmar Mergenthaler's Linotype thundered to life. For the first time, molten metal was cast into lines of print at lightning speed, revolutionizing publishing and unleashing a new era of mass communication. In 1609 Venice, Galileo raised his telescope before the Doge and senators. For the first time, rulers gazed through a lens that revealed moons and stars unseen, a simple tube that shattered old skies and forever changed humanity's vision of the universe. In 1950, the New York Historical Society displayed a modest Bausch and Lumb microscope. Once a fragile tool of glass and brass, it had opened unseen worlds, revealing life's hidden structures and sparking a scientific journey that would forever alter medicine and discovery. On November 8th in Britain, the first engines of Boulton and Watt roared to life. Vast machines built to pump water from the earth. Yet within years, Watt's rotative design would drive wheels and factories, igniting an industrial power that transformed the world. In early 18th century Florence, Bartolomeo Cristofori unveiled his grand piano, a creation that could thunder with power or whisper with grace. Unlike the harpsichord, it gave composers true dynamic voice, shaping the future of music across centuries. In 1717 at Ox Close, Henry Byton's engraving revealed his modified Newcomen engine, fitted with a safety valve that tamed explosive boilers. This breakthrough turned a perilous invention into reliable power, pushing steam closer to fueling the Industrial Revolution. In June 1752, amid a raging storm, Benjamin Franklin and his son raised a kite with a key tied to its string. As lightning struck, sparks leapt, proof that thunderbolts were electricity. In that daring moment, nature's most violent force was finally captured by science. On September 19, 1783, outside Versailles, the Montgolfier brothers launched their hot air balloon before the French court and 130,000 onlookers. As it rose into the sky, gasps echoed. Humanity had taken its first bold steps toward conquering the heavens. In 1796, Edward Jenner pressed his lancet into a young boy's arm, testing a daring idea that cowpox could shield against deadly smallpox. In that quiet act, witnessed with anxious hope, the foundation of modern vaccination was born, changing medicine forever. In 1778, at the Soho Works in Birmingham, James Watt's prototype Old Bess transformed steam's raw force into rotary motion with a sun and planet gear. From its turning wheels came the rhythm of industry, a machine that powered factories and reshaped the modern world. An 1870 illustration shows the first cotton gin at work, slaves feeding raw cotton as an overseer watches. This machine promised speed and profit, yet bound lives tighter in oppression, fueling both America's wealth and the deep scars of its slavery. In 1775, David Bushnell's strange craft, the Turtle, slipped beneath the waves, the world's first submarine. Built to strike British ships in harbor, it turned the sea into a battlefield. A daring invention born in the shadows of the American Revolution. In 1800, Alessandro Volta revealed his electric pile, metal discs stacked with damp cloths that sparked the first steady current of electricity. In that moment, power was no longer stolen from storms, but harnessed by human hands to fuel a new age. In 1814, George Stephenson unveiled his first locomotive, iron wheels clattering upon steel rails. This roaring machine turned steam into unstoppable motion, laying the tracks for a railway age that would shrink nations and speed the pulse of progress. In 1837, Samuel Morse's first telegraph apparatus clicked to life. Simple wires and magnets carrying messages faster than any rider or ship. With each spark and tap, distance collapsed, and a new era of instant communication began to connect the world. On June 19th, Louis Daguerre stood with Claude Félix Abel Niepce, carrying forward the vision begun with Joseph Niepce. Months later, in 1839, the daguerreotype was unveiled, capturing light itself on metal plates and giving the world its first practical photographs. On February 29, 1932, New Yorkers boarded the subway for its grand opening ride. As trains rumbled beneath the city, new safety doors gleamed beside them, symbols of progress on steel tracks, carrying a restless metropolis into a faster, modern age. In 1876, Bell's voice first crackled over wire. "Mr. Watson, come here." 16 years later, he stood among executives, sending words across New York to Chicago. What began as a faint signal had become a bridge of sound, shrinking distance with every call. In 1879, Thomas Edison's workshop glowed with a fragile filament that refused to die. At last, his light bulb burned steady, pushing back the darkness. That single spark marked the triumph of invention and lit the path to an electrified future. In 1885, Mannheim, the Benz patent motor wagon rattled to life. A three-wheeled marvel with a single-cylinder engine. Crawling at 9 miles per hour, it was the first car sold to the public, steering humanity onto the open road of the modern age. In the 1930s, the black rotary telephone sat heavy on desks and tables, its dial clicking with each turn. This sturdy device carried voices through wires across cities and nations, becoming an icon of connection in an age before the digital world. On March 22nd in France, the Lumiere brothers unveiled the cinematograph, a camera, printer, and projector in one. As its beam lit the screen, still images leapt into motion, and for the first time, audiences witnessed the birth of cinema's magic. In 1895, Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen's curious machine revealed invisible rays that pierced flesh to show the bones within. What began as a flicker in his lab became the X-ray, a discovery that transformed medicine and opened a new window into the human body. On December 17, 1903, at Kill Devil Hill, the Wright Flyer lifted from the sands, Orville at the controls, Wilbur running beside. For 12 seconds, man defied gravity, and the age of flight began with the fragile wings of two brothers' dream. In 1923, Hoover unveiled a sleek vacuum cleaner forged with die-cast aluminum, lighter, stronger, and revolutionary in design. Once a luxury, it brought modern cleaning into ordinary homes, humming with the promise of efficiency and a new domestic age. In Chicago, a 1949 display set past against present. Pat Varner turned the crank of a 1906 Thor washer once used in Edison's home, while beside her, Dale Rodney unveiled the sleek new automatic model. From hand labor to push-button ease, the age of modern washing had arrived. In 1908, the Model T Ford rolled onto American roads, rugged, simple, and affordable. This machine put the nation on wheels, carrying farmers, workers, and families alike, and forever transforming travel into a freedom within reach of ordinary people. Proud men stood beside the first Frigidaire, crafted by Delco Light under General Motors. This towering machine brought cold into the home, turning ice boxes into relics and ushering in a new era where preservation and comfort could hum quietly in every kitchen. In 1920, voices crackled across the airwaves as KDKA made its first broadcast from Pittsburgh. For the first time, news leapt instantly into homes, carried by invisible currents, and a new age of mass communication through radio was born. In 1928, Alexander Fleming returned to his lab to find mold-killing bacteria on a petri dish. From that accident came penicillin, the world's first true antibiotic, an invention that would save millions of lives and forever change the course of medicine. Philo T. Farnsworth stood proudly beside his invention, the first electronic television. From faint signals on a small screen came moving images that would soon beam across the world, transforming how humanity shared stories, news, and dreams. On September 14, 1939, Igor Sikorsky's VS-300 lifted into the air, an ungainly frame that defied gravity. Soon it flew longer, farther, setting records and proving the helicopter's power. From that fragile craft rose a new era of flight, vertical and unstoppable. Amid a wall of wires and switches, operators bent over ENIAC, the first electronic digital computer. By plugging cables and turning dials, they awakened a machine of unprecedented power, marking the dawn of the computer age and a future ruled by code. In 1968, Philips unveiled the HN1102 microwave cooker, a sleek box that turned invisible waves into instant heat. What once took hours was done in minutes, transforming kitchens worldwide and ushering in a new era of modern convenience. In June 1954, as the World Cup played in Switzerland, Europe witnessed a new marvel, the first Eurovision broadcasts. Jacqueline Joubert, announcer turned viewer, symbolized the moment television crossed borders, uniting nations through a single glowing screen. In November 1957, shoppers in Rome gazed at a model of Sputnik 1, the Soviet sphere that had pierced Earth's orbit weeks before. Its steady signal from the stars marked the dawn of the space age, a beeping challenge that reshaped the race for the cosmos. On October 26, 1958, passengers boarded Pan Am's jet clipper 707 at New York International Airport. The sleek jet roared skyward, inaugurating transatlantic service that shrank oceans to hours, launching the golden age of global air travel. On November 2, 1972, Clive Sinclair introduced the sleek Executive, one of the first pocket calculators. Compact and futuristic, it slipped easily into a jacket pocket, signaling the dawn of portable computing in everyday life. On July 1969, astronaut Buzz Aldrin stepped onto the lunar surface, deploying scientific instruments beside the lunar module. The American flag stood nearby, marking humanity's first footsteps beyond Earth. On October 12, 1971, Godfrey Hounsfield's EMI brain scanner was tested on patients for the first time. The breakthrough ushered in CT scanning, revolutionizing medical imaging with cross-sectional views of the human body. On December 2, 1982, surgeons at the University of Utah implanted the Jarvik 7 artificial heart into a 61-year-old patient. The man-made organ marked a bold step in testing whether technology could sustain human life indefinitely. On July 31, 1984, Motorola unveiled the Dynatac 8000X, the world's first commercially available portable cellular phone. A decade after the bulky 1973 prototype, the handheld device signaled the dawn of mobile communication. On January 4, 1996, General Motors unveiled the EV1 in Los Angeles, the first mass-produced electric car by a major automaker. Sleek, silent, and futuristic, the EV1 promised a new era of clean transportation, years ahead of its time. On September 18, 2000, the Space Shuttle Atlantis undocked from the International Space Station after completing a landmark mission. With the US-built Unity node gleaming in orbit, the ISS stood ready to welcome its first resident crew, marking a new chapter in human spaceflight. On May 14, 2012, Google's self-driving car, a modified Toyota Prius, navigated the streets of Washington, D.C. Guided by AI software, street view data, video cameras, radar, LiDAR, and precision sensors, it showcased a future where cars could drive themselves with little to no human intervention. On September 9, 2010, at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza, a Bridgestone team member cruised around the famed Autodromo Nazionale di Monza on an electric scooter, an early glimpse of clean mobility on the world's fastest racing stage. In 1930, Paris unveiled a new motorcycle fire engine, compact yet powerful, carrying 2 firefighters, 400 feet of hose, and driven by a 9-horsepower motor, racing through the city as innovation met urgency.